Yeah, so I was born and raised in San Diego, California. San Diego, California has a really big Latino community, and so by proxy, it has a really big freestyle uh, community. And there's an oldie station in San Diego. It's called Magic 92.5, and they would play. They just I don't know if like maybe the DJs were like in the club scene back in the 80s, but they would play like hella freestyle. And I'm not just talking about like the mainstream freestyle. They would play like the deep cuts on the radio, like, you know, or like maybe the lesser known ones that like didn't chart on Hot 100, but like they were hot in the clubs. So I got exposed to like all the classics and stuff. So I've always loved freestyle. I didn't even know it was its own genre, actually. I thought it was just 80s music. So that's how it got on my radar. And I don't know, I gravitated to it because freestyle is clubby, which I love club music, but it's also very emotional. It's kind of dark and kind of moody, a lot of it. So I think that's why I gravitate towards it.
But how did it land on your EP that just came out, Current
okay.
Affair? How did it become your first single?
Okay, so that's how I got into the genre. How did it land on the EP is because I wanted to make, I knew that this next EP was gonna be like darker in theme and lyrics, but I didn't want to make like a sad boy record. I didn't want it to be like sad and depressing. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do more dark music, I want it to be dancey. It has to be. So naturally, I was like, there's gotta be a freestyle track on there because that's what that genre is, you know. It's like breakup music in the club, you know. So
it was pre-planned for you to do a freestyle.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm gonna do a freestyle song. It was like a deliberate, this is what I'm gonna do.
well, let me tell you, the quality of the song was really good.
Thank you.
It definitely has that vibe of a freestyle song that came from the 80s, which your entire EP has that theme of the 80s.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's the story behind deciding to do an EP with the 80s theme?
I mean, so when I started doing when I became Michael Angelaux, you know, I knew it was going to be rooted in 80s music because that's just my thing. I love that era of music. And so, yeah, I knew that the music I was going to be making was going to have an 80s vibe. That was always the case. And so with this EP was no exception. It was more just me figuring out like the vibe, because I don't want to just do one genre of music. I want to be that artist where, you know, you can get a little bit, you know, some different flavors, but it's kind of all in the same umbrella.
You're kind of capturing like a time period, like you know how they do movies that are timepieces, right? Yeah, that's kind of the vibe of the EP.
Yeah, and funnily enough, whenever I see a period piece, like I look for things like oh, that song wasn't out when this was supposed to take place. You know what I mean? Like I do stuff like that.
That happens a lot in movies.
Yeah. So I pay attention to stuff like that. So but yeah, I've been obsessed with the 80s my whole life. Anybody who knows me, like that's like the first thing they say about me. Like, yeah.
Who did you create the lyrics, or was the music first? How did you connect with the producer?
So the producer I worked with, I was looking for a freestyle producer, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna find one. Like, you know what I mean? But I found one, and I hit him up, and I'm like, hey, I need you to do this kind of track. This is kind of what I'm looking for. And there were really specific things I wanted, you know, because I wanted to make a song that when a fan of freestyle music heard it, they would be like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, I want orchestra hits, like I want vocal chops. The bass line needs to be a certain way. Like I was really particular about what I wanted.
Right.
And that's what he gave me. And so I was like.
Now who produced it?
His name is Aetherus Energy, I think is how you pronounce it, or Aetherus Energy. And I think he actually lives in Latvia, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just found him on the internet. And I mean, he did a way better job than I was even expecting.
Yeah, but, the song came out really
Thank you.
good.
And yeah, I wrote all the lyrics. Oh, sorry. I know you told me not to touch my clothes, but
Yeah.
I wrote all the lyrics, wrote all the vocal melodies. My engineer came up with some of the harmonies, but the lyrics, the vocal melodies, the everything was my idea. So,
Now, the EP was just released recently, and there's a theme across, like, the EP that has an intro where like you're breaking out the news. The Dance in the Rain has like a little reporter scene part in it. It takes place in San Francisco, I think. Did I catch that right?
well, no, one of the what would you call it? One of the news anchors.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to make you feel like this is a story that's being talked about all over the country, all over the world. So that particular DJ just happened to be in San Francisco.
Oh,
but
got
there's
it.
like another one, like there's a British lady at the end of one of the songs.
Right.
You see, so I wanted to have like kind of like this global news story vibe.
So what's the whole, like, how did the idea for that news story, because one of the things about Current Affair, which is the name of the EP, right?
Yeah.
Is that every aspect of the EP has a concept and a theme, right? Which is kind of rare, which also makes it like 80s, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that there's a concept and a theme makes it 80s all in itself.
Absolutely. I am a huge fan of the medium of the album. You know what I mean? Like you will never convince me that the album is going to go out of style. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like I really believe in making albums, like full bodies of work. Now this is not a full length album,
Right.
You know, cuz making a full length album, you know, there's so much more that
Right.
goes into that. So I was like, let me just do an EP cuz I'm new, so like let me get my feet wet. But I still wanted it to have a concept because a lot of my favorite albums are concept albums. I love albums with themes or like not even a theme, but maybe just like it's exploring a certain genre.
Right.
So that's why I did it that way. And then the story behind it is it's based on a true story. Last year I went through some really fucked up shit. I won't go into it because it's depressing, so I won't go into it. However, I was kind of in a situation where I was being like lied on and like accused of crazy things that I would never do. And I took that experience and turned it into a story about a celebrity that's being accused of something and then is vindicated in the end. And it's kind of like a critique on like our current news cycle, how like we just have news thrown at us constantly, just like constant headlines, you know. And
So it's kind of like the 80s meets like 2024,
Yeah.
2025.
yeah, it's kind of like, because back in the 80s, if there was a breaking news alert, they would like cut into the show and
Right.
like you would get the breaking news, right? But like nowadays,
I forgot about that.
yeah, but like so I put it in the context of the 80s, like, oh, we were interrupting this program, you know. But nowadays it's constant. It's just like breaking news. It's like all day. Like we have
Right.
we have a 24-hour. Back in the day, you would watch the news at 6 and that was it.
Yeah. You weren't watching it again until maybe 11 or the next day.
Exactly. But now we get news constantly. And we live in a culture where you can just say something and people, just because you said it, it's true. And it may not be true.
Right.
So this EP is kind of just like, it's a story, it's a fictional story that's based on a true story, about just like, you know, me playing a celebrity that's caught up in some shit, you know.
Right. So one of the things that surprised me, right, is to find out that you used to be a rapper.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did used to be a rapper.
What?
I mean, I still am a rapper. I just don't record music anymore. But I'll always be a rapper, you know,
Yeah.
like in my heart. But I just don't rap anymore now.
Yeah. You wouldn't rap in a song anymore.
I would rap in a song, but not the way I used to. But I would definitely throw some kind of, if it makes sense. Yeah, of
Right,
course I
right.
would. If it makes sense for the song, absolutely, yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. So what was I know you mentioned it to me, but I can't really remember. Is there any music out right now under your rap name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how can we find?
So I used to rap under the name Barbie Crash, BARBI
Uh-huh.
CRASH. If you want to check it out, it's out there. I no longer promote it. I don't rap under that name, but if you were curious, it's there. So there you go. I would check it out on Bandcamp because the EP I put out under that name on Bandcamp, that's probably my favorite one. It's not on Spotify, so it's
Okay.
just on Bandcamp. So.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what I did. So.
So what's next do you have another single planned out?
So I'm not releasing any more singles off the EP because there's only really 4 songs. There's like 4 songs and 2 remixes, so it's
Right.
like, you know. But I am in the middle of collabing with a few artists. One of them actually, I met her through you actually, Alexis J. She reached out.
New school freestyle artist.
Yeah, so she reached out and she's amazing. So she wants to collab. We haven't really gotten started, but we've talked about it.
That's cool. She's a big fan. Like the times that I've shared on social media your music, she always comments or mentions it.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing, and I am a huge fan of hers. I shared her video. That's how we met. I shared her video because I'm like, who is this girl like doing this like fire ass 90s meets contemporary freestyle track?
Yeah.
And then she messaged me. She's like, oh my God, I love your music, blah, blah. So yeah, she's super cool. Yeah. And then I also have a collab in the works with this artist called Perfect Female Type. He's not a freestyle artist. He's like synthwave, retrowave, but I'm like working with him, and I'm going to be doing a full-length album. I've committed to it. It's going to be a daunting task, but I'm going to do a full-length project. It is tentatively titled Casanova.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the next big release from me. There'll be like singles in between that, you know, like here and there. But
So if someone was to come up to you and ask you, you know, start talking about music, and you know you start explaining, oh yeah, this song here, Dance in the Rain, it is the genre, right? It's called freestyle, etc. And and they're unfamiliar with it, right? Because freestyle's not really mainstream anymore, right?
right.
What are the artists that you feel that you would recommend someone, or like songs that you like, freestyle songs that you would recommend? Like, what are 5 or 4 songs that
Like my favorite 5 freestyle songs?
Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, they're all gonna be like 80s or 90s ones.
That's fine.
But okay, number 1 is easy. My top freestyle song, it might even be one of my top songs of all time, is Spring Love by Stevie B.
Okay.
When I tell you, I adore that song. Like, I've heard that song thousands of times, and it's like I heard it the first time every time. Like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that one song, Stevie B, Spring Love, that he's re-recorded it a couple of times. I don't know if you saw that there's a version with Pitbull.
Yeah.
And also Fat Joe recently put out a song with this beat from Spring Love, but he slowed it down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
To fit more of the rap. You know, rap has slowed down over the years.
Of course, yeah.
Right? But yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, that song is phenomenal. It's brilliant. The songwriting, the production, and I will never forget this. I distinctly remember being on the school bus as a kid, and it was raining. This kind of ties into Dance in the Rain. It was raining, and I remember because in San Diego, I'm telling you, they would be playing all the freestyle music. So Spring Love comes on the bus, and I'm like sitting in my bus seat, and it's raining, and I'm like looking out the window, and I'm like being all emo and sad boy, and I was just like, oh, like this song is so good. And so ever since then, I always associated freestyle music with like rain.
Okay.
Because like in San Diego, when it rains, it's raining, but there's like palm trees everywhere. So like, I don't know. It just, for me, like I always associated freestyle with like a rainy day in California.
Okay.
So that's kind of where Dance in the Rain came from. Because like, I don't know, I just have a weird connection with freestyle and rain. So that's where that came from.
and it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it's dancey, but it's moody and kind of dark and sad. So that's one
So that's
song.
one, sorry. Yeah.
Number 2, I would probably say, and it's not like technically freestyle, but I would say Funky Little Beat by Connie.
Okay.
Again, I am obsessed with that song. When I was a kid, you know the part where they chop her voice up during
Yeah.
the bridge?
Yeah.
I didn't know that that's like a producer doing that. I thought she was doing that. And I was like, oh, that's so cool that she can do that. And I would like practice thinking like she was actually doing that with her voice. But yeah, love that fucking song.
In California, you know, she's from Florida, but in California that song was kind of like an anthem, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I saw her at the Freestyle Explosion concert in San Diego when I was in high school. I was one of the youngest people there, and I saw her name, but I didn't know who she. I knew the song, but I didn't know who the artist was because you know this was '90s, 2000s.
Right.
And she comes out, and that beat drops, and I'm like, hold up, I know this song, and I was like, I fucking love this song. Like now I can like go and download it because I know who it is, you know.
Right.
So like yeah, ever since then, I checked out her album, and I saw your interview with her, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that was
So-
my second interview.
Yeah, that was I'm a big fan of hers, so that's
Okay.
that's great.
So we have two.
Number 3, let me see. This is tough. Number 3,
What song comes to mind?
maybe like maybe Come Go With Me by Expose. Bro, that song
yeah.
fucking smacks. That's
Yeah.
like that's such a good song. Like, so good.
So much energy in that track.
It's so, like the production is so fucking good on that song. Yeah. Number 4, this might be an odd one. Domino Dancing by Pet Shop Boys.
Okay.
They did a random one-off freestyle track in
Okay.
'88.
Uh-huh.
Love that song. I love the video too, the music video.
You know what? I haven't seen the video.
What? Go watch it.
Oh, I gotta go watch it.
It's interesting. It's like two dudes fighting over a chick in Europe somewhere, but like I thought it was cool that they did a freestyle track, you know, that
Okay.
that freestyle had that kind of reach to go to
Right.
the UK, you know. But that's a good one. And then
But not to throw you off, but
Yeah.
right now there's a lot of freestyle coming out of Europe. It has
Makes
its own,
sense.
It has its own vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some songs that are coming out of Europe.
yeah, Europe always embraces dance music
Yeah.
more so. But and then number 5, damn, I don't even know. You know what? Okay, I know one. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna say "Don't You Want Me" by Jody Watley.
Oh,
Does that count?
Yes.
That's a freestyle
yeah,
track,
yeah,
right?
that
Dude,
definitely.
I fucking love that song. That's like, oof, that takes me back. I love that song.
I think that song was featured on a lot of like Thump Records compilations. I think. I'm not sure.
I didn't even know that was her because Jody Watley, like in the black community,
Right.
her big song in that community is "Looking for a New Love," but I feel like the Mexicans I hung out with in San Diego, the big hit in that community was "Don't You Want Me" because it's more of a freestyle song. So I got put onto that song through that.
You know, one thing I'm gonna put to the side that a lot of people don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, you know, it has nothing to do with music, but
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about San Diego, and you used to hang out with Mexicans and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you and Black History Month? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico's second president was black.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a lot-
and they have a current female president right now, right?
yeah. There's a
They're more progressive than we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and they abolished slavery before America.
of course they did. You know, of course they did. You know, I always say Mexico does it better. I've been saying that. You know, I grew up 15 miles from the Mexican border. You know, I am not Mexican, but I feel like I am sometimes. So there's that. You know, but so shout out to Mexico.
All right. Well, Mike, I want to thank you for not only doing the video of Dance in the Rain, but also this interview. And I'm really glad, you know, you're the one that reached out to me, right? And I heard your track and I thought, man, this is fire. You know, like absolutely we're gonna, you know, put this on our social media and our playlists and stuff like that. So, you know, I want to support you in what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I also want to thank you for taking the time and being part of the Freestyle Channel.
Well, no, I appreciate it and thank you as well.